Having given other brands the original idea for compact SUV motoring, Honda has developed its own modern interpretation of what a car of this kind should be, the second generation HR-V model, here usefully updated. It aims at the premium end of the Nissan Juke and Renault Captur class, offering smart looks, impressive safety credentials and the choice of petrol or diesel power. Buyers also get a brilliantly practical interior thanks to so-called magic seat ingenuity and a slightly larger body shape than is the norm in this sector. If you're shopping in this segment and you're prepared to stretch your budget a little, we think you'd probably like one.
Right from the off, you have a feeling that this might be one of the better compact crossovers to punt along, even if you've only opted for one of the mainstream models that most buyers choose. These featuring either a 1.5 litre normally aspirated iVTEC petrol engine or a 1.6 litre iDTEC turbo diesel. Here we're trying the flagship Sport variant, which uses a 182 PS turbocharged version of the 1.5 litre petrol unit. This Sport version gets agile handling assist torque vectoring, variable gear ratio power steering and rather over firm performance dampers, all to try to make it feel a little more dynamic. We'd suggest you stick with one of the standard engines, probably the diesel, which remains one of the more engaging power plants of its kind and is decently frugal, managing WLTP rated readings of up to 56.5 mpg on the combined cycle and 132 grams per kilometre of CO2. With a black pump fueled HR-V, you can only have manual transmission. Choose either of the petrol variants though, and you'll be offered the option of a CVT auto. Whichever variant you choose, you should be extremely impressed by the refinement of speed, and that's something that Honda's put a lot of effort into as part of the changes made to this revised model. The other thing we love about this car is its snickety manual gear shift action. It makes cog swapping such a pleasure. There are obviously no off-road shenanigans on the menu here, with a front-driven only chassis and just 170mm of ride height on offer. That would be unwise, although light field tracks and muddy car parks ought to be well within this Honda's remit. Honda clearly wants the facelifted version of the second generation HR-V to have more universal appeal than its rather bland looking predecessor, the idea being this time around to reach a wider cross-section of buyers. If you like the idea of a small SUV but you find the Nissan Juke too willfully outlandish, a Peugeot 2008 rather bland and a Jeep Renegade rather ugly, then this perhaps could be your car. The so-called coupe-like SUV looks are stylish enough to stand out without making a statement likely to offend anyone. In its original form, there wasn't much wrong with this cabin that a few nicer materials, plastics and fabrics wouldn't have put right. So that's what Honda's done with this revised design. Otherwise, it's all very much as before, which means you get a rather low set driving position, plenty of cabin storage, and this rather curious 70s style wide flow air outlet situated ahead of the front seat passenger. Most variants get this 7-inch Connect Centre Dash infotainment touchscreen, complete with navigation, a decent DAB audio system, and the option to download various apps. One of these, Aha, will come preloaded with the system, and it gives you access to thousands of stations of audio, spanning everything from music to news, podcasts to audiobooks. Let's take a seat in the rear. Where you'll find that the HR-V is one of the most spacious models in the compact crossover class. What really marks this HR-V apart from its contemporaries, though, is the packaging brilliance of its so-called magic seat system. Now, this is something that sadly you can no longer have in the brand's Civic family hatch, and it's made possible by this Honda's centre-mounted fuel tank layout. Now, this liberates the floor of the cabin and allows all kinds of interior permutations. Let's take just one of them, the Magic Seat Tour mode, where the front of the rear seat base rises up and can be locked in a vertical position to leave a cargo height of 1,240 mils from floor to ceiling, allowing the object in question to be placed behind the front seats. It's ideal for tall, fragile items, maybe a small potted tree that you bought from the garden centre, or perhaps a bulky item of electrical equipment. The other two magic seat settings relate to the more conventional cargo configurations that we'll have a look at now. Raise the rear hatch and you'll note the wide cargo opening and the low loading lip that pave the way towards a conveniently shaped boot that's VDA rated at 431 litres and is pretty spacious by a small SUV class standards. But let's say you need more room and you want to push forward the 60/40 split folding rear seats to, for example, store something like a bicycle. Now that's when you move into the Magic Seat System's utility mode. And the first thing you notice with that is the ease of the folding process. Here, all you have to do is release a simple lever mechanism and push forward from the rear and just watch as the backrest and the seat base retract together into the rear footwell in one quick fluid motion. If you're not using the front passenger seat, then there's the option to recline that as part of the final Magic Seat Long mode. With that done, items as long as 2,445 mils can be accommodated. And in summary, well, overall, we continue to like the HR-V. The brand still isn't importing enough for it to become a mainstream choice, but then this was never going to be a high volume model. It will instead appeal to those in search of the cleverest and the most versatile car of this kind. High fashion is all very well, but its charms do tend to fade. We think the appeal of this Honda is less likely to.